everyone. This is Lionel Lee, executive sponsor of Mixed at Google, and I'm proud today to introduce Sugi Dakks. Sugi is a mixed-race Japanese African American, multi-instrumentalist, rapper, singer, slam poet, producer, and an activist from a small town. Sugi Dakks is no stranger to being an outsider. The success of his latest music video, Not the Only One, where Sugi Dakks explores the complexities of his own racial identity and racism in America, encapsulates an artist that is both masterful at his craft and takes pride in his otherness. To add to his artistry, Sugi Dakks has already made waves behind the scenes, producing releases with Grammy-nominated Warner acts such as Wale and Chika from the commercial TV hit series such as Power, MTV Cribs, Love Hip Hop, Atlanta, and the Kelly Clarkson Show. His debut EP, Not All That Glitters Is Gold, is an extension and an enhancement of his message to find power in uniqueness. The EP's raw emotional force and musicianship is just the tip of the iceberg for one of hip hop's best kept secrets and what people are calling the Outkast for a new millennium. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Sugi Dakks and his performance.
What's good, y'all? My name is Sugi Dakks, and I'm so honored and proud to be playing some music for you guys, the mixed Googlers, in celebration of Mixed Heritage Week. And just try to create a space where we can empower and uplift people that are mixed race from multicultural backgrounds, multiracial backgrounds. But at the end of the day, just all come together knowing that we're all human beings and we can all just celebrate that fact. So I can't wait to talk to you guys. Here's a couple songs that I got to record for you guys. Hope y'all enjoy. You see, the revolution is only the revolution of the heart. Because I aim to imagine a world where being human and human being are the same thing. I aim to imagine a world where healing becomes the new hello. I aim to imagine a world where empathy is taught with the confidence to say, I know you to be me, and I want to take care of myself. Really think about that, because I never aimed to imagine a world without Tamir Rice, never aimed to imagine a world without Michael Brown, never aimed to even know the names of Emmett Till, Oscar Grant, Sandra Bland, never aimed to even have to say the names of Ahmaud Arbery, Elijah McClain, Breonna Taylor, never aimed Jacob Blake, never aimed George Floyd, never aimed Jazon Kizzy, never aimed name, 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 never aimed, never aimed, never aimed, never aimed, never aimed, never aimed. Just shot. Knowing name is just a job to them. Color exposes our true colors too often. My drive from South LA to Hollywood, I barely look.
What's the point?
Misfortune and niggas costing 10 minutes, Lambos and Porsches. Figures, the bus stop stops for no one around here. This trash pile is our farmer's market. Parks are red for these cigarettes. Is this house caught fire on 96? These potholes show what these landlords know. What these lotto tickets on my desk keep growing. This drive in the hood to start a video shooting all of the hood of cars. Seasons change, colors don't, and I know this life can be a work of art. But I just keep asking myself how two peoples are still worlds apart.
Color my face, color my name, cover my chains. Mother, I can't color my shoes, my socks, my legs. Color my face, you can't see my tears in the rain. Color my people, my people.
Mama said that my skin was a blessing. Papa said be careful, know your skin is seen as a weapon. Deep park in the gym causing deep depression. Colors can't mix yet, we keep them separate. White man, red or blue, run the country. Black man, red or blue, run the streets. Talk to hate the other side, guess we really are alike. Got me red in the eyes, the blues play in the background. Stevie Wonder has better vision than all of us. See that it's wrong for once in my life. Wicked or superstition would die. We all bleed red, the color of the sun we share. And purple rain is not Agent Orange, no, the black mom, but won't be riding down anymore like
Color my face, color my name, cover my chains. came, color my shoes, my socks, my legs. Color my face, can't see my tears in the rain. Color my people, my
Here, where a white flag inside a black church does not mean surrender. A black boy using white out to rewrite history is no black sheep. Brown versus the Board of Education of what it means to be brown is no outlier. Black Fridays are not just for white picket fences. Don't throw no shade at me. I've already tried to scrub my history out of the skin, tried to unpaint a painting already dry. This is what it feels like to force your name into existence.
I've been pushing for so many years. No, I'm getting strong. You can only do what you want for so long. I can only run so far before my body gives up. Tell me, do you know when too much is too much?
I've grabbed the roots of my family tree, held on for dear life for like 24 years. Hands calloused, every day is a challenge, trying to build a broken home into a palace. Believe in taking L's will flip into a win. Most days I don't recognize the struggle I'm in. Most hours jam-packed with sessions, stressing if I'm normal or I'm the exception. The spirit in you will be a critic or a fan, it's so true. So with a spray paint can, I'ma do what I like. Guess I'm losing my mind singing this. Troubled times, I should win awards for my war cry. I'ma duct tape life by the sides, try and piece it together, cause a drop in the water could ripple effect in no time.
I've been pushing for so many years. I know I'm getting strong, but you can only do what you want for so long, yeah. I can only go so far before my body gives up. Tell me, do you know when too much is too much?
Maybe I should chill, get a job and try to pay it for this debt instead of paying on my dues. Make a payment on my rent, such is life. The road less traveled is full of gold mines and landmines. Still light, how you could blow up or I blow up on me. Hope your car play out. I never fold, so never fold my laundry. You focus on the lines and those will be a grave. You focus on the beauty, the lines will be a stain.
I've been pushing for so many years. I know I'm getting strong,
But you can only do what you want for so long.
I can only run so far before my body gives up.
How do you know when too much is too much?
I've been pushing for so many years. I know I'm getting strong, but you can only do what you want for so long.
So long.
I can only run so far before my body gives up. How do you know when too much is too much?
When too much is too much. How do you know when too much is too much? Don't take me for a victim, a byproduct of the trauma, experience from generations of broken promises. Gandhi paved the way for new thinking, eponymous with the trauma of the Obama kids. Shooting ourselves in the foot, it's like a daily routine. The suicide of it all, politicizing on pandemic as bad as rational ass, using your hands to catch rainfall. Why is it so easy to judge? Dirty clothes, crooked teeth, no test like that matters. Chuck E. Cheese offenders make moves in dress shoes. It's not only the government that's tying the noose. BB, please play the blues one more time. Still niggas are dying. Going for a run is not a crime. Apartheid wrapped in daily life. Uncle Tom is having the time of his life. Come on. Yeah. Rap. Yo. Yo. Y'all got to know that I got to flow till I'm gone. Never been on whether or not I sit in that picking that. It's go time or go mine. I know it's showtime. I know yo didn't come up with these dope lines, but it was so fine. Whether I know what I know, I'm quoting lines that I wrote with notes and no pie. I'm never gonna have another cosign, but I peel back and this real rap is not kosher. When I put it on the gram, not a poster. Just do it like you supposed to. Get it away, go to make gold. I can take over you, make golden chain over the way, throw lemonade. Oh, me gonna break over today. Ooh, cha cha boom. What do I do? You don't wanna be stepping on my foot. Yes, 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 yes. But I take another look. Yes, gonna take another look. Yes, 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 yes. Read go to read the book. Reading when we wanna see with the CB beep red light. Nigga with the lip hot. Me and got stop go green like 3 by move. I'm gonna say goodbye to you. Wow. Yo. Oh my God, when I look at you, I think finito. Goddamn, you get it, take every shot like it's a free throw. Man, you a big deal with your clean cut and your fresh mint shoe Fuego. I see what I wanna go put you in charge. Cause all I'm looking at is douchebags with hot hands and these mean freaks with no manners. You been there, you been gone with your fruit juice and your slip-ons. Not me, I'm in the hot seat with a good dude with a bad temper. Don't mess around unless you want some. So yeah, get off of me just one time. Viva la revolución. Viva la revolución. This party is over, so get your drinks down. I am done, man. I hate privileged motherfuckers. Ooh, you think you're so cool? One time, thank you. Everybody wanna be like you. Everybody enjoying the view one time. Like, Viva la revolución. next song, I'm mixed race. So my dad's black and my mom is white and Japanese. And so I'm just sort of talking about the things that come up in all the racial tension that I experience in my life, you know, sort of being from these two different backgrounds. And I think, you know, a lot of people experience, and it just really touches on a lot of the racial divide that's in this country and throughout the world. And so, you know, yeah, just make sure you educate yourself all the time about this stuff. What's it mean to be mixed race? I don't know who I am. Wish we could switch places. You could see from my eyes, like eyes 5 on aisle 5. The cashier bagging groceries stares at my mama, says, "This is your orphan." Ma knew she wasn't joking. She's heard it before. See, mama's white, dad is black, and it's sad that this matters. Looking back when I was a kid just trying to fit in these standards, grew up in some redneck town. I didn't care till I stepped on the ball court and got stares. They told me to leave, said it was just not fair. I'm too black, my jeans too much like Kobe and Shaq. I'll ruin the fun. I grabbed my ball, sat in the back of the bus. Now everyone's laughing a bunch, shouting stuff like Rosa Parks hadn't died. Then a cop rolls by, jokes fly, say, "Oh no, Kyle Hyde." Someone tossed me some chicken, said they ran out of watermelon. Said nigga just to sound cool. I brushed it to the side, cause I wanted to be like, wondering why all the time I so badly just wanted to be white.
Wishing well, is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me. Wishing well, is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me.
Fast forward some years, I'm trying to change up my life. Pulled up to the homie's crib and got that black mother hug, that black mother love, wishing I had it all the time. We start chopping it up. They talk about two-stepping as kids during lunch. Now I'm envious of them. I can't relate. I just smile, but inside I just sigh, cause then Oreo jokes fly. The white friends, man, why you trying to be white? You got that house nigga vibe. I just brush it to the side. We meet some girls at the club, but she said she wants a real nigga. But that was fun. Now I'm staring at the mirror, getting mad like why my half, wondering why I so badly just wanted to be black.
Wishing well, is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me, yeah. Wishing well, yeah. Is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me, yeah.
Maybe there's a day where I'll figure it out. Cause now it's like I'm two-faced, caught between two races, caught in a crossfire from two different places. Tupac, but too white to know it, black enough to be hated, white enough to be token, but too black to show it. Where my people at? See, I don't care about race, I wish it didn't exist, but can't you see that it affects me no matter what I wish? I mean, take a look around. Look how many outsiders feel like they don't have a crowd. Think about that next time you're saying out loud all the comments and the bullshit and the hatred that you wanna put out. Man, I'm proud of who I am. No matter which box you think I fit, nah, I'm proud of where I live and how I understand the work that needs to come. Like how people don't treat you by who you are, but what you look like. I ain't done. You see, I too dream of a day where I'm judged by the content of your character and not where you're from. This is all that I have ever wanted. Call it dumb, but I know that I am not the only one. Oh.
She will. Is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me, yeah. Will she will, yeah. Is it freedom for someone like me? Someone like me.
Someone like me, oh, will.
Freedom for someone like me.
Someone like me. Huh?
She will, yeah. The freedom for someone like
Someone like me.
like me,
Hey,
Hey,
that was great. That was great. Thank you, man.
thank you. Yeah, no.
Well, I hope everyone that watched enjoyed it as much as I did. Um, your musicians are kind of balling. They can play.
I mean, they're all just, gospel jazz musicians. So,
That's what I figured. I knew the jazz was in there. The drummer's definitely gospel.
oh
The
yeah,
drummer definitely, yeah, he got
yeah.
some riffs in there.
Oh yeah,
I grew up with musicians. My stepfather was a musician on my black
nice.
side, so
Okay,
that's
yeah.
where you see my musical interests and stuff come
Yeah.
from.
You're peeping the
Um,
musicianship then, yeah.
Trying, man, but I don't have chops like that though. I don't have
Uh,
chops like that. My wife says that I just like to go downstairs and beat up on stuff. So all right, so let's get into it a little bit.
yeah, no,
You and
definitely.
I talked a little bit at the beginning, but wanted to find out a little bit more about like where you were raised, what
Yeah,
was that like for you, all that stuff. Can you go into
yeah.
that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So just to give context for that last song, so because I'm kind of talking about that specifically. So I grew up in a small town in Northern California. It's called Lakeport, California. It's got like 5,000 people, and it's definitely conservative, very low income, white, mostly residents. There was four, me including myself. There's four Black people in our entire high school.
Wow.
So yeah, and coming from that small town and having mixed race parents to begin with, and being Black in a very white space, it brought me a lot of questions early on that I really struggled with for a long portion of my upbringing. And I always remember the story very clearly of different scenarios. Of the first time I really found out that race mattered and was a thing was I was in kindergarten, and all the kids were making fun of me because the top of my gums are Black, and it's because sometimes Black people have melanin on extra melanin that can reside in the upper portion of the gums to make it look Black, and obviously no one else had that. So all the kids would make fun of me and say that I was smoking cigarettes and I was addicted to smoking and I need to stop. And obviously, being a kid, you take great offense to that, and you're like, oh no, I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
And I really remember taking a step back and being like, hey, like, why are all these kids making fun of me, but no one else gets made fun of in the classroom but me, And I, finally came to the conclusion of it must be because I look different from them. Like my
Right.
skin is a lot darker. And I remember it very clearly that was sort of the first time I thought about race, and thought about, oh wow, I am different from these people. And, I am getting treated differently because of these people. And then, the sad part about that is I sort of came to the conclusion after that, being a kid and not knowing any better, is that, okay, like I live in this world, I'm trying to figure out the world. And if you're Black, you just get made fun of. And that's just what happens. And from that point on, I got a lot of jokes thrown at me all the time. And, it affected me less because I'm like, oh yeah, this is how it goes. And I came from a very, naive place to try to navigate, through this world. Yeah, through this world. And so, all growing up, I would, get made fun of if I would happen to sit at the back of the bus. What I talk about in the song, like a different examples. If I happen to sit back in the bus, they'd be like, ah, ha, ha, Rosa Parks, sorry, that's where you deserve to be. Or, if watermelon was in, if I happen to be eating watermelon, I get made fun of. If a cop drove by, they'd be like, oh my God, Kyle, run, ha, ha, ha. And it's just partly from, kids being, very, very ignorant, and the parents obviously contribute to that because, that it's not a very progressively thinking place, so they wouldn't know it. And yeah, so I really struggled with identity from that sense. So there was that whole side, and then the other side was, then I started struggling with the fact that, okay, my mom is Japanese, and white looking, and then I'm sort of noticing, you know, all these things growing up with being Black and not really knowing how to deal with it. And I remember being at the grocery store, and the cashier looked at me, and then she looked at my mom, and she was like, "Oh wow, like, you know, it's good to see that you're taking care of orphans." And my mom kind of chuckled and was like, huh, "No, no, that's my son." And I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6. So I remember going to the car and being like, "Mom, like, what's an orphan?" And she was like, "Oh, that means I'm not like your real parents, and we'd adopt you essentially. But that's you're actually, my son. Like, that's not you." And you kind of sounded like passionately, but for me, it was like a big moment. Because I was like,
right.
Am I adopted? Like, are you lying to me? Like, we are different looking. Like, what is happening? And it was like a lot of confusion. And I think we live in a different time now where those conversations, of parents and kids specifically are talking a lot more about race in general from an early age. But I kind of, in my experience, it wasn't really something that, myself and my parents would talk about a lot, or that I had anywhere to go to eat. I mean, I didn't even know it was beneficial to talk about. So I was kind of trying to figure out how to navigate the world. So yeah, it kind of created this, separation in my mind for a hot second of like, oh, my mom doesn't look like me, and people are treating us different. Like, some people are thinking I'm not even her son, and I've called her mom my entire life. Like, what does this mean?
Right.
I think so the last song of the performance is called "Not the Only One."
Right.
And it was literally a song trying or recognizing up to now to where I have talked to people that are of mixed race that come from different backgrounds and have struggled with the same thing. And I called the song "Not the Only One" because for the longest time, I never talked to anyone about it. I never really opened up because I thought it was strictly just my experience. And so it's something that I just had to deal with on my own. But a lot of people actually do experience the same thing in terms of like really struggling with self-identity and struggling with, different parent dynamics and different friend dynamics, depending on where you are and what communities you are involved with and associate with. And, it can be a really struggle. And so, yeah, it took me, honestly, till I was about 24, I want to say, to really come to terms with the fact of my racial identity and being mixed, and having all these moments and experience up to this point of not feeling accepted by the white community that I was in for obvious reasons, being Black. And then on the other side of that, of, not being accepted in certain Black circles because, I didn't have a Black mother. And, culturally speaking, there's like certain things that being raised by a Black mother usually entails. And so, not having those experiences, like there's a separation in that fact. And that's just like one small example. And then also not growing up in a Black community, it also creates this cultural separation that, I couldn't really relate to my peers on certain things. And so I felt this separation, and they felt like this, like, you're Black, but you don't even fully look Black. So it's like, how much do we like accept you? You're just kind of the weird kid. And so you kind of, find yourself caught in the middle. And the analogy I like to use a lot of times is, it's like the olden days Civil War, where it's like you got the line of soldiers on each side, firing, and then it's like you're kind of walking in the middle, getting shot from both sides. It can feel like that at times. So yeah, it's been a journey in my experience, and I think that song kind of touching on both sides I wanted to be white for a long time because I wanted just to be accepted by my friends and my peers and not have this like whole divide.
Right.
And then I had this other notion of I wanted to be Black, like fully Black, so I can fully be accepted by my Black peers and not being stuck in this middle portion where it's like a gray area. So
yeah, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who you were when I first heard the video. My children mess with me all the time saying I'm stuck in the old ages. I listen to like J. Cole and some other folks and people that people probably haven't heard of. But then I watched your video and it definitely hit me. I'm multiracial as well. I'm half Black, half Korean. You and I talked about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that there was two things that really stood out for me in your video. One is that you could tell that there was a struggle going on for you at some point in your life because you would at one point paint the figures white, right? Because you were trying to be white and trying to understand what that felt like. And then at the other time you were trying to, paint the figures Black and trying to figure out what that part was. And I felt that was kind of illustration of how you were kind of battling internally about that.
Yeah.
The other thing that really struck me was the line, "Is there a place for someone like me?" Right. Which to me was like, oh man, this brother's like, struggling with that. He was really struggling with that when he was writing this. Yeah. Is there a place for someone like me? Because it felt like there were moments obviously within your life that you just didn't feel that you fit in. Right. And you said you came to an awakening right around your 20s. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because I didn't start even. I really, growing up in a small town, you're not aware of a lot of things that happen in the city. You just don't experience. So I kind of lived under a rock in certain senses of just I never learned even about these terms of institutionalized racism and really from an academic point, I didn't learn anything about racism in America and the bigger context. All I had was sort of my experiences and I was just trying to piece things together. And then going to college, you start reading books on race and you start having open conversations in classrooms about race. My town's public school system was not good, so I didn't learn that much in school, but that was the first time that I had the opportunity and just the awareness of like, hey, there's all these books that talk about race and that just started my journey on really trying to unpack and understand just a lot of the resentment and anger that I felt up to that point, but didn't know where it was coming from. And so honestly, it was literally therapy for me to read like all these books on race, reading James Baldwin, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, I took a deep dive in so many things, Maya Angelou, and really started, piecing together and putting it in the full context. And it took me, my college years and beyond of, educating myself more and more for my own sake, not even for the sake of, feeling like I needed to be educated, but it was just for the own sake of trying to understand my life and giving a timeline and a context to the bigger picture. And I think I just came to a place around 24, the age of like, okay, like I finally, I've come to the realization of like, I have nothing to prove anymore. Like, I don't feel the need to prove anything. Like, I don't need to prove my Blackness to anyone, which is like a whole thing of like, you're not Black enough because, being mixed race.
Right.
And I don't need to prove to white people that I am Black, and I don't need to prove to Black people that I am Black. I am what I am. And, I always felt like, oh man, I had to check a box and come to the conclusion. It's like, you don't have to check a box. Like, you are who you are. You're all of the things. You're not one or the other. And, regardless regardless of whether or not you think I deserve to be one or the other, which is like a whole conversation.
You made that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
We use black a lot during that commentary. You were talking about, I don't need to be this, I don't need to be that, but I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. Right. So do you identify as black? Do you identify as Blasian? Do you identify as black and Japanese? How do you identify?
Yeah, I mean,
for yourself, not for somebody else, but for yourself internally.
For myself, I try to stray away from those terms. Like, obviously you have to use those terms when you're talking to people and communicating to people, but as cheesy as it sounds, like I try to look at it from a human standpoint first.
Okay.
Identity. And then obviously when you're talking to people, like, yeah, you have to give some context. So it's like, yeah, I am, I will identify myself as black in certain circles because of the context, or identify myself as mixed in certain circles because of the context. But if I were to live in a vacuum, I would not associate myself with any of those identities. Because I think, if you really dive into those terms specifically, it's like, okay, what even is black? Like,
right?
Is it a specific? Is it everyone from Africa? Is it everyone from dark skin? And if it's everyone from dark skin, that means you're only black as long as you're related to. You have to have a reference point of a white person to know if you're black or not, because then it becomes a line of a spectrum of, like, once you pass this point of not being white, then you're black, essentially. And so it's like this huge gray area of, like, what is black even? And at the end of the day, in my opinion, it is connected to this bad idea of whiteness, in terms of you're only black because you're not white. And I think that within the mentality and the subconscious of a lot of America and a lot of American culture, so much revolves around this idea of, whiteness. And even and that can even fall into the context of black, black people talking about being black.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you is like, I think a lot of what you said will resonate heavily with a lot of folks in the audience that are mixed, right? Because what you're talking about is the duality of existence, where you're black and you identify with your black culture, and you also are Japanese, and then you're brought up in this predominantly white culture. So you have all these pieces, parts that you got to pull to yourself. And then there's always this external pressure to identify. And what I heard you saying is that you're comfortable with all. That this is who you are. You're not going to let somebody else define you. Am I correct there?
Yeah. And it's a catch-22, because 90% of white people are going to think I'm only black because, I have black skin.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Most black people can see that I don't look fully black. And so
they can tell you mixed.
Yeah, and so I get treated differently just based off that fact. A white person is going to treat me as a fully black person, and a black person is, and this is generally speaking, obviously, but a black person is going to generally treat me not as a full black person.
Okay. I've never experienced that myself, but I definitely know what you're talking about. I've one of my sisters, I have two sisters, also Black Korean. The different daddies, but same mama. And one of my sisters was talking about that too. So what you're talking about is like wanting to be accepted, or at least maybe not wanting to, but having to, deal with that, having to navigate that. Like, where are you going to be accepted? Is there a person in your life that supported you while you were going through this? And, who was that person? What was it like? If there was, or was it just you?
I mean, early on, it was kind of just me sort of like dealing with my internal dialogue. And I think it was after the fact, after I started like really trying to educate myself and learn about all these, different books. And
Right.
then I sort of went back, and had those conversations with my mother and father and my siblings. And I think honestly, my siblings, so I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and they obviously experienced a lot of the same things, but I think similarly didn't know like how to deal with it and talk about it, and then went to college, kind of like opened up their brains. And then I remember specifically when we were coming back, for family gatherings, most of what we talk about at dinner was something race related, and because we're all sort of like trying to piece it together, and it was this sort of like a beautiful trajectory of us really having these open conversations that now we have all the time about race, but that we never had growing up, because I just don't think it was a thing to talk about.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah.
I saw your video, and I made an assumption without knowing your background that you were half black, half white, without seeing your picture. And then I saw your photo, and I was like, he's Asian.
Yeah.
He's like black and Asian, because you can tell the features, right? The cheekbones, the eyes, those things. I mean, you and I can stay connected for sure. You and I can stay connected for sure. I've gone through a lot of the same things that you've gone through. Would love to, continue this conversation with you. I think we're now going to head over to Q&A, right?
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
I think that's what we're supposed to be doing, is audience Q&A via the YouTube live chat. This is all new for me too, by the way. So we're learning together. But later, maybe when you and I talk again, we can talk about how music influenced some of that understanding and acceptance of yourself too, because I definitely see that.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like I always tell people, based on the audience you're playing for, you change what songs you're playing. You change your set list. If it's like, okay, it's a mainly black audience, there's different cultural things that you take into mind for people's enjoyment. So, if like a cultural thing that like a small example of that is, it's within white culture to, if after a performance you stay silent for the whole performance and then you clap at the end, right? That's like a very white standard of socializing, versus in the black culture and black standard is you're a lot more interactive with the performance. So you're shouting, you're clapping, you're woohoo during the performance, right? But even that small thing right there, you can sort of see like the racial tension, because if you do that under white standards, right? If you're like hooting and hollering during a show, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, that's so disrespectful. That's so,
I've
he's breaking the code. He's breaking the line.
Yeah.
And
I've experienced that. Never cared.
Yeah. And that's honestly the same thing that happens on the other side too. If you're a person that's like crossing your arms and being super silent during the performance, in like a black cultural space, it's going to come off more as, oh, that person doesn't care. That person isn't into the performance because they're not hooting and hollering and clapping and yelling and all this
stuff. That's just the way they express their appreciation. All right. So let's go to the QA. I don't know where I'm supposed to read these things from. Do you remember? Let me see. So Lily, she said, your music video for Not the Only One was so stunning and really hit a lot of us in the feels. How did you come up with the art direction for that performance? Were there other visuals considered?
Yeah, I mean, so I mainly work with Marina. She's like my creative director as well. And she like sees things from a lot more visual perspective. So we kind of had the conversation of, obviously within the song, I'm kind of talking about it as in like a storyline. And, I just didn't have the budget to create like a whole movie storyline where, you have a kid that's going through all these experiences. And, that was like too much. So we're like, okay, we have to think of a more abstract way to convey what we're trying to convey, because obviously the message of the song is so important with black and white. And then, we just started toying around with different ideas of how we can throw in different things that are black and different things that are white together. And we ended up on the idea of paint and, smearing it together. And yeah, it kind of organically happened that way, and we had our first version that we we just put a bunch of cardboard in like a pile, and we're like, okay, this looks kind of lame. Maybe we should like build a whole world. So we hired someone who's incredible named Melissa to like build this whole cardboard world to essentially, you know, represent the you know the surface level essence of it, you know, through like a cardboard world.
The way that I interpreted that actually, and the way that it hit me was that this was this world that was created for you by others, right? It wasn't necessarily you that created that.
Yeah.
And
100%.
then you had to go in and you had to paint these pieces. You had to try and figure that out. That's what I got from that. Yeah. Let's see the next question. This comes from Sabrina. She said, what is the biggest misconception people have about you because you're mixed? What do you wish people understood about mixed identities and families?
So I think the most like looks that I got was when I would spend time with my grandfather on my Japanese side. So my grandfather looks like a fully old stereotypical Japanese man. So obviously me standing next to him, like, you know, at a restaurant, and I spent a whole summer with him still one time. So it's just me and him hanging out a lot of time versus the whole family setting. And yeah, we get looks all the time of like, what, like this doesn't make any sense. And a lot of times I would show in college, actually, I would show a lot of people of like, hey, this is a picture of my grandpa. And so many people just wouldn't believe me. They're like, this is not your grandpa. Like, this is a joke. Like this.
Yeah, they just couldn't follow it.
Yeah, they just couldn't connect the pieces and couldn't, like, in their mind, it's like, no, your grandpa is supposed to look like you. And it's like, but you know, funny enough, for me, you know, growing up from an early age, having cousins that don't look like me and grandfathers don't look like me, and having a diverse sort of extended family kind of made me super open to you know, what you consider family and how you consider families be. Because I think I realize in a lot of people's minds, it's like, yeah, if you're a white family, you have to have a white everything, or else it doesn't make sense in my mind. And so
okay.
I forget the second half. I remember the misconception part, but what was the second half?
I forget the second half too, honestly. We'd have to bring it back up. Sorry, I'll ask her later if she can ask again. Let's move on to the next one. And this is from Flavio. He says, how has your music helped you find peace and appreciation for your mixed identity?
I think just for not the only one specifically, you know, I think it was just a great therapy session in a lot of ways of really putting it on paper. Because I think a lot of times most people do have the internal dialogue happening all the time. But I think there is something about actually putting it on paper in whatever art form that comes, you know, whether it's painting or even having a conversation with another person that's really understanding and holding space for that, I think is super beneficial in that sense, and not just having this internal dialogue of trying to figure out inside of yourself. So yeah, I think for me it was I think there was two steps. That first step was a great step to coming to terms with my mixed race, and then the second step that actually took me a long time to get to was getting to a place of wanting to share it. Because I think for a long time, and as musicians, as artists, you make so many songs that don't get released. Right. So it was just for a long time in the pile of songs that don't get released. And I was like, this is a great song where I kind of, you know, got to vent, get some things off my chest. But I honestly wasn't thinking about releasing it. But it was just more so of I'd play it for people, and they were so impacted by it. And so like, yeah, you know, like this is amazing. This is great. Like you should release this. And I was like, I don't know if I want to like step into that realm and like be that, you know, vulnerable in a sense. But I'm obviously super glad that I did it, because now it is like, I don't know. It just the responses and like comments of people being like, yo, I so relate to this, like has been so meaningful to me, you know, and kind of what I wanted the song to be, in a sense of trying to show that you're not, it's not just happening to you, it's happening to a lot of people.
Yeah. Sometimes the road you're supposed to travel isn't necessarily built by you. You know, sometimes you just happen to step on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what happened, I think, for you.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Let's get the next question. Tina Snell, she said, you mentioned that conversations about race weren't prevalent in your family until your siblings were in college. Did bringing those conversations home affect your other extended family members?
Yes. So I think, I'll speak from the internal part as well, because there was, especially with my mother being white Japanese, there was, when we started talking about race, obviously it brings up a lot of hard feelings and a lot of resentment and regret, because the first thing that I really had to struggle with was the fact that, you know, I learned all these things about race and racism, and then the first thought I had was like, why didn't my parents tell me about this? Like, why didn't they let me know that this was a thing so I could be prepared for all the things that I went through? And so I honestly held on to a lot of resentment because of that. And my mother, you know, we started having these conversations, and then she took this journey of really trying to educate herself, which was, you know, so beneficial as well, and it's very important. But, you know, there's two sides of that coin, because there was a period where it's like, I don't want to be your teacher, you know, I want to be your son. Like I want to think of you as my mother, and I want it to be the mother-son thing. Right. I don't want to have to teach you about Blackness, essentially, in all these certain scenarios. And so there became, you know, a lot of tension, because it's like, hey, I'm your mother. Of course, she's coming from a mother perspective of like, hey, I wanna relate to my son. I want to understand my son. I want to like fully be invested in my son. But there is this rift of like, she will never understand certain things because she isn't Black, so she isn't going to understand that side. And so I think it was really hard in that sense for us to come to a place of like understanding and harmony enough to like get it. So, and it's an ongoing process. Like, you know, obviously it's not perfect, but it is something that I really do appreciate, that we are able to have those conversations and come together. Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel that too. My mother's Korean, and, you know, I tease her. She speaks African-American vernacular English with a Korean accent. So we'll chop it up sometimes if she asks certain questions, or we'll just have conversations around race and stuff. And you know, it's fascinating to me, and I think it's really fascinating to her, especially since this is my work now. You know, so you know, let's get to another question while we still have time. Jason Steving, he said, as a mixed Black white person, I've always heard phrases like, you're only half X. The word only to me sounds like not enough. How do you address these kinds of comments when you hear them?
Yeah, I mean, early on, it was the struggle of, you know, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be fully in that corner. But you just come to a place of like, yo, all they're doing is just projecting their thoughts and emotion onto you. And it's you know, like Prince says, most of what people say is just a reflection of what they think about themselves. It has nothing to do with you. And because you were literally you were born this way. Like, there's nothing you can do to change it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it doesn't make it wrong that you're not in these, you know, these surface level boxes that are created by society that are meaningless at the end of the day. And so yeah, I'm at a point now where like it doesn't affect me, because it's like I am not trying to prove to you anything. And that was a big step to get to that place. And I think it's important to find your own version of that, because it's gonna happen for the rest of life of people that are mixed race. There's always going to be people that are like, hey, we don't think you should be in our club. And then there's going to be the other people, hey, you're not in our club because you don't got A, B, C, D. And it's not worth trying to join the club because you don't need to be in that club.
You don't want to force yourself in.
Yeah.
No, you should you should go to Hawaii.
I've been a couple times.
Not with not the tourist areas, but like everyone I grew up with is mixed. Every single person I grew up with was mixed. In Hawaii, and then LA was my black side, and that was cool too. But we don't have that much time left. But I just wanted to chat it up with you just a little bit more before we go. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm chilling right now. I can go for however long.
No, I'm talking about, are you okay with everything? Like, have you come to that place?
Yeah. In general, I mean, I'm feeling good about things.
I think you should. I think your music, I think, is really powerful, man. And you could tell, that you put a lot of energy and a lot of your, a lot of emotional, a lot of the emotions that you have, you put it into your music. And then your keyboard playing is pretty nice too.
Yeah, so I studied jazz piano in college, so that's kind of like the foundation. Okay. So my main background with that is I was studying jazz piano, and then I was doing a lot of spoken word poetry actually in college. Yeah. And I also had a rap club. So these were all very much separate things in college. At the end of my college career, I was like, okay, I think the answer is just combine everything into one mush and see where I can take it. So that's kind of like where I'm at.
well, if you we definitely want to make sure that people know how to reach out to you, how to experience the work that you do, the artwork that you do. Go ahead, man. Where should people go? Yeah,
so Sugi Dakks, I think my name should be displayed there. So yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram. I have a website. In the link on my Instagram, you can get on my mailing list, and to where I'll just mail you if I'm playing a show in LA, if I have new music. I actually have a new song coming out on Friday, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, I'm on Spotify and all those things. So yeah, if you can type in Sugi Dakks on the internet, you'll find some version of what you're looking for. But yeah, the video, I don't know if like the video was sent, but you can find that on my YouTube page for the people that just so they have the reference of what we're talking about this whole time.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. If you don't mind, just hang out for a little while afterwards, and maybe we can change numbers or something. But yeah, I'd love to stay in contact with you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we got a jam, brother.
yeah. I don't know about that. You're a little bit beyond my league, trust. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much, Google, and we'll talk with y'all later. Bye.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.